I'm Judy Stiles. Thank you for joining us this week on Newsmakers. Well, starting a business is a big step, and probably a bigger step is keeping it going. And today we're finding out about an organization here locally that helps people in both of those aspects, the Small Business and Technology Development Center. Joining me, Karen Bradshaw, Lisa Robinson, and Ken Surbrugg. Thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
I guess a small way you abbreviated, SBTDC, right?
We sure do. We call ourselves the Alphabet Soup Program some days.
So when people walk up to you, though, and they say, well, you have the center, what do you do? How do you explain, define what we mean by the Development Center?
We educate new and existing small business owners. So our charge comes to us through a federal grant from SBA, through our statewide network, and the Missouri Southern's a partner. So we sit down one-on-one in we call them counseling sessions, and we educate small business owners on the basics of small business plans, marketing, management, finance, and accounting. And our job is to educate. We actually cover an 8-county area that we're responsible for. Mm-hmm. We also offer training workshops if they would like to come and learn more and do something in a global setting.
So a lot of services in this half hour. We'll talk about some of those services. Probably one of the questions, how long have you been around for the services? Your history on campus.
Yes, well, 30 years come April the 1st. We started April the 1st in 1987.
Wow, so happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then how is part of a nationwide network, correct? You have a nationwide network?
Yes, we are not the only center in the state of Missouri. We have a network of about 30 other centers throughout the state of Missouri, and then each state has their own unique system of small business development centers to help small and existing businesses in their states. So
as we're recording this program and airing it, of course, our station may crowd viewership across the state line in Kansas, but they may have similar programs in other states that border us.
They do.
So, yeah. And if they don't know where to go, they could probably call your office and say, how can I find the contact in those regions?
Definitely.
They can. We've also got a national group called America's SBDC, and you can go to their website and just put in your zip code, and it will tell you the nearest center.
Great. Well, let's talk about, we say SBDC, the small business. How do you define the word small? People say, well, what makes up a small business?
Well, the SBA defines a small business as one that has less than 500 employees. Wow. So when you think about the United States of America, that's about 99% of the businesses that are out there. But actually about 80% of the businesses in the United States have fewer than 20 employees. So there are lots of small, micro-sized businesses, actually.
So a lot of times people think of business, they think of huge corporations, but you're helping that, not necessarily mom and pop, but the smaller scale business that doesn't have that corporate structure with offices all over the country and things like that.
That's correct.
Right.
And tying that together. So you're helping them from startup to then success. Are there any statistics as far as the challenges facing businesses from an idea to how many actually succeed? Is it a challenge?
The statistics are quite staggering. Normally about 50% survive their first year because they haven't done the adequate amount of planning to be ready for everything that's going to be faced. Normally it's a financial issue that they just don't have enough money to get through that startup phase before revenue can start rolling in. And then normally by the 10th year, 80 to 90% have failed, or they have actually gone on and done another type of business venture that may have been a key component in what they were doing, and that's where they can really make money.
So really that research beforehand is crucial to start off on a strong basis.
Yes.
So I know you have a PowerPoint that would kind of guide us along, and as we're talking people can see that. So we have a PowerPoint presentation, and you can see obviously your opening slide talking about located here at Missouri Southern, but let's go on to the next slide, which I believe talks about your anniversary. So do you have a number of events planned this year tying into that?
We just have one event planned for Friday, April 7th at 3 o'clock right outside Cornell Auditorium, and we're going to cut a ribbon with our area chambers and just celebrate, because we're not allowed to advertise our program. So if it wasn't for our economic development partners and our chambers, people wouldn't be able to find out about us.
Any feeling or idea of how many businesses you've helped in those 30 years? Are we talking hundreds or thousands? Or
Well, we normally see over 200 a year. Wow. And some years it's been 350 or more. So I would say if you could easily take 200 times 30 as a good baseline. So I would say somewhere between 6,000 and 10,000 different businesses, and that doesn't include the training events and the attendees that we might touch there. This year alone, we've already had, since October 1st, we're on a federal fiscal year, we've already had over 300 training attendees in our seats. And we've seen well over 100 clients since October 1st already.
So you're seeing strong interest this year.
Yes,
Yes.
definitely,
Yes.
definitely.
So is that a sign that, from a small business perspective, the economy's good? People are wanting to take that step to do
It
things?
seems like, yeah, people have a feeling that it's, why not take the jump now and at least explore the opportunity. A lot of times people will start a business as they're currently employed, so they will, kind of start on the side.
Right.
I'm
I'm gonna do my thing, and what- different process, yeah.
Keep the steady paycheck, that's always a good thing, and then just kind of toe the waters. But it seems like a lot of people just want to do it right. They want to do it legal, which, we greatly appreciate them doing that.
It probably helps their chances for success.
Yes,
Along those
yes,
lines.
definitely.
So, your services. Let's talk about some of the services. I believe your next slide talks about some of the services and what these mean. For instance, startup information. If somebody walks in and just says, "What do I need to do? I have an idea," you can help them.
Yes, yes. Every month we have a workshop that we offer, and over the years it's had various names, but right now it's called Starting a Small Business, the First Steps. We have anywhere from 2 people to 20 people sometimes in that workshop, and so it enables us to have it. Usually it's a Thursday or Friday afternoon, the first Thursday or Friday of the month, but it enables us to get people together who have similar questions, and so it's nice for them to network. It's also nice for them to listen to other people's ideas, and the statistical fact is that if you will spend about 3 to 6 months planning before you start a business, you have about a 50% chance more of succeeding than not. So we always tell people, we bring them in and talk about the feasibility of the idea and give them their homework, as we say, to get out there and talk to other people, investigate the industry, their competition, and do their homework, succeed.
Right, just like you would in school, you have to study
That's
and
right,
prepare
that's
and so forth.
right.
And some of the other services we saw is, developing a business plan. I mean, you have to go into this with, I guess, something in writing, not all in your head.
Definitely. Especially, it's really important if you're looking to obtain outside funding, even if it's from your uncle, your brother, or from a bank, or from some other source. They will want to see what your business idea is, and they want to see it on paper. So it's always good to have a business plan because you're telling the same story to multiple different people. And so you have your ideas down, and then, we always encourage them to revisit that from time to time, at least annually, to sit down and really take a look and see, is this going where I thought it was going to go, or is there another opportunity that I need to explore?
And these are services, as we say, through your consulting, where you're meeting one-on-one with the potential business
Yes.
owners and operators. Marketing. I mean, you can have a great business, but you have to let people know about it. Tell me about that
We
aspect
do.
of it.
I'm going to let Karen handle that one because she's our resident expert in marketing.
Well, one of the things we always say to people is, it's all about the customer. I know you've heard the phrase, the customer is always right. Well, we all know they're probably not always right, but they are your customer, and it's about the customer's perception. So it's very important to determine who your target market is, what their needs are, how you can meet their needs more effectively. Because you do have competitors, and a lot of people don't like to think. We've had people that come in and say, I've said, let's talk about your competition, and they've said, I just don't even want to talk about it. And I'll say, let's be realistic. You do have competitors. There are lots of competitors online that are buying things online. There are competitors in other areas that are also competition, and so you have to be realistic.
So nobody's really truly unique. I'm the
That's
only one who
right,
does
right.
this.
And so part of that marketing plan is having your eyes open and looking around and saying, this is the way the world really is, and where's it going to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And what do the customers want, and who are the competitors, and how can I best meet the needs and make money at it? I mean, you got to make some money, right?
Those people have to buy or purchase or
That's right,
buy
that's
into what
right.
you're doing.
That's
Tying
right.
that together. And tying into the buying aspect, the finances. You mentioned the financial failures. So some people might have great ideas for businesses but don't know how to workbooks, do accounting and those types of things. How do you assist them with those challenges?
We assist them in a lot of ways with those things. It's really important, first of all, we make them do financial projections of first of all, we say, what are your expenses going to be? And they try to shortcut that, and we're like, no, you can't shortcut. What are you going to experience on a month-by-month basis for expenses? What's your rent going to be? What's your insurance? What are you going to pay your employees? What do you need to take home? So we make them have a realistic list of what their expenses are.
This is writing it down, seeing it in front of them.
Writing it down, and then we make them project sales from there. And we have a lot of data if they're selling a product or service. We've got industry statistics of what cost of goods sold should be, so we can get them in a ballpark to say you need $12,000 in sales a month just to break even, just to pay your expenses, and that's going to be a minimum. Can you reach that level of sales? And so that's
Puts a reality on it for them.
It's a lot of reality, and a lot of times they're like, like, well, I couldn't even begin to do that after a year. So we really, hit home with that. And so then that kind of almost becomes their budget. And then we do a lot with accounting because we want them to understand how to put their accounting in a computerized program such as QuickBooks. And most importantly then, how to pull the financial statements out to see how are you doing.
If we follow up, how can you follow up?
Yeah, you have to. They have to know, and they have to know where they are against their competitors that are in the market and others. So that's crucial. And so we spend a lot of time in the finance and accounting area with them once they're off the ground to say, how is it going? Where are you at? And and then we're offering a training now specifically about that, how to increase your profitability using data. We have thousands of dollars worth of databases at our access because of our statewide network, because we're located here at Missouri Southern, that we can give them this information and they're like, oh my goodness, I had no idea.
So they don't have to do the research, you have that material that they can access.
We do. And we'll teach them how to read it as well.
And that could be daunting, I imagine, just understanding it.
Most people start a small business, they want to do whatever it is in their field. You may detail cars or start a restaurant, whatever it might be, but they don't go into business because they want to be an accountant. Right. And so, unless they're an accountant, of course. But the idea is that they don't understand how important that is to really grasp, and that's what we try to do. We just try to educate them so they can make better decisions to increase their profitability.
And imagine, of course, we're recording this during tax season. That comes back around to people. If you can make your money, but eventually you're going to have to pay some taxes on these things.
Right. You are.
Certainly.
That's right.
And we don't want people to find out how much money they made last year on April 15th of this year, or lack of money they made last year.
So having that awareness and tying that together. And then the whole aspect of managing or operating a business. When you talk about having employees, you have that whole, how are we going to run an organization with someone being the boss and someone being the employee? How do you help people understand that structure?
Well, as we said, we do offer various types of workshops over the year in those areas. But one of the other things, too, is management issues are not just employee issues, because a lot of people don't have employees, but management issues are also operational issues, like when should I be open? How shall I deal with vendors? How shall I... am I going to sell online? Am I not? So a lot of management issues are actually the actual physical management of the business, the inventory, dealing with vendors and all those kinds of people out there too, and trying to decide that. And so that's what a lot of the things that we teach them on one-on-one. And as Lisa said, we're not in the business to do things for people. We're educators. We're there to teach them. Two areas we don't give advice on, since you mentioned accounting now, is we do not give legal or tax advice, and so we're always telling people, go see the experts out there.
There are people who do that for a living.
Yes, go pay the experts who are experts in legal matters or accounting areas or taxes, or those who are experts in, like, bankers and those. And we always tell people, go out and find a good banker and a good lawyer and a good attorney, and some people who are experts and have gone to school for that and can give you some great advice to help you out in those areas.
So do you find a lot of small businesses network with each other? You mentioned them coming together at workshops. Who did you use for this service, or how do you approach this?
They do. They talk to each other, and then they come to us, and everything we do is confidential. So they'll tell us, hey, my buddy Joe says I need to come speak with you. And we say, we really appreciate referrals, and we're not able to speak about anybody else we work with, so how can we assist you?
Right, for your case.
And turn it around. And so, but they do talk to each other, and they send us great referrals, and we appreciate that since we don't have an advertising budget. But it's good for them to talk, because most of them are in the same spot, and they're living in the same region, and the same economies affecting them.
Right. Well, you mentioned the region, and I believe your PowerPoint has a map. You mentioned the counties. If we can go back to the PowerPoint, basically along this western edge, southwestern corner of the state of Missouri.
We do. We have 8 official counties. We can actually assist businesses in any county in the state of Missouri. We can also assist businesses, but we can't travel to any state that touches Missouri. We can assist businesses. So we'll work over the phone, over the internet with screen shares, whatever it might be. Some of them even will travel here to see us at Missouri Southern. We get a lot from Kansas and Oklahoma.
Right, 'cause we're right on the state line.
Exactly. A few from Arkansas. I've even had an Illinois client before.
Come all the way to Joplin.
They did. They did.
So if someone lives in that region, or even though we're located in Joplin, they can drive in from those communities and visit with you.
Yes.
And follow through. Well, your next slide on the PowerPoint brings up some points. I don't know how much the viewers can read the detail, but talking about this return on investment as far as developing business. Explain what they're seeing on this slide. What does it mean?
Well, they are seeing actually our program, the Small Business and Technology Development Center, there's also 2 other programs, the Missouri PTAC program, Procurement Technical Assistance Center, and the TAC Center, the Trade Adjustment and Assistance Center for Firms. So the investment column is going to have the federal money that goes into each of those programs, actually in the state of Missouri, the state money that comes in, and the local money that comes in. In the big blue bubble in the center, that's our network. Those are all the universities that are part of our business development program in Missouri. So we have sister centers at all the universities and colleges in Missouri that we can reach out to if we don't have the expertise here in-house. And then on the far side, kind of in the orange, you see our results. And so we're really proud that we can help create jobs, that we can help businesses increase their sales, we can help them earn government contracts and get investments into their business. And that's what it's all about. We want our small business owners to make sales, to be profitable, because we want them to pay taxes, because that's pretty much how we're funded.
Here, coming back full circle. Now, the funding aspect, as far as the state and the federal, we hear a lot about challenges of those levels. Do you feel the funding continuing, or is that a challenge every year to wonder how's the government going to fund us this year?
It's always a question. I've been with the program for 24 years. Karen's been with our program since day one, and Ken joined us in 2011. So we've finally eased Ken's nerve to say we've kind of always been here. If we're doing what we're supposed to do and meeting with the right people and in the right places, it's just going to happen. So we try not to worry about that and do what we can to grow this economy, because we live and work here too.
Okay. Now, the slide showed local funding. What would be an example of local support for your organization?
In our case, it's going to be Missouri Southern, and our Plaster School of Business also contributes some to the Missouri Southern funding to keep us. And then, of course, we have our partners that help us do trainings and that type of thing.
Well, you mentioned Missouri Southern, and I'm curious about the ties between your center and Missouri Southern's educational efforts, the School of Business. You have opportunities for students at Missouri Southern to get involved, to find out more about what you have?
Yes, we do. We started an entrepreneurship club, for one thing, that they can come to, but then also the workshops that we offer to the public, the one that's starting a small business, the first steps, and then also the one on business planning. All of our students can attend those for free, whereas people in the public usually have to pay.
Right.
We have various events that we host that students are involved. And so every fall we're part of Global Entrepreneurship Week, which is an international program that goes on. And so we host a whole group of various types of workshops that the students can come for free, have various speakers that come in and talk about entrepreneurship and innovation and all that. So we always have a good time in that one. It's always the week before Thanksgiving. So we have a great time with them doing that.
Yeah.
Now, you use the term entrepreneurship for our audience. Let's define that. I mean, some people have heard it, but what is the true definition you like to use as a working definition for them?
Well, when we talk about entrepreneurship, we're talking about people with innovative ideas. Let's face it, the American economy has grown all these years because people are innovative and have always thought of, what can we do that's new, that no one else has done before, that meets the needs of some customer base out there. And so when you think about the growth in the internet, all the things that can be purchased there, when you think about all the services that are available that weren't available 10 years ago, that we all have and that we enjoy, for convenience and timeliness and just all the wonderful things that are out there. Innovation, it's entrepreneurship. It's somebody who has, like Ken said, a lot of people, they're working a job right now and they say, wow, I could do this better. I could do this better than these people could. And so they'll work part-time, develop their business idea, quit that job, and start some terrific business. And so
that's that idea flashes in their mind, they're able to make it a reality.
Yes.
Have you seen a lot of impact over the years as far as the changing of the economy to more of that internet, the social aspects of businesses and so forth?
Certainly.
It's not necessarily brick and mortar business.
Right. There's always a component of that. Every business needs to know, how do I market my business, and how can I sell? How can I be found on the internet? It's like finding a needle in a haystack. You just don't know what field you're in, and you don't know what haystack you're looking in. So, trying to find those particular keywords and trying to get found on the internet. But we have seen a lot of businesses interested in that because of the growth of social media, especially after the last, 5, 6, 7 years, and the number of platforms that have exploded as well. So there's always, that interest, and we can help with that. We can, we're not experts. We don't pretend to be experts in that as well. There are a lot of good companies out here in our region that can help you do that.
So
certainly.
perhaps some people might not quite grasp, or they're not really knowledgeable about the internet or social media, you can help them understand what it means to a household
Right,
business.
how important it is for them. Yeah,
And tie all that together.
Definitely.
And working it together. Well, entrepreneurship, the students, I understand you have a program for students as well as the people in the community, some certifications and so forth. Tell me about that. And I think there's a slide on the PowerPoint that may bring that up, the Center for Entrepreneurship, and looking at what we have to offer of professional credentials as well as something for the students on campus.
Yes, yes. In 1986, we started an entrepreneurship program here on campus. Our center started in 1987, so we've always worked hand in hand. The staff at the SBTDC have always been the people who teach our entrepreneurship classes here. So Ken and Lisa and I are the ones who teach those. So it's really a wonderful experience because we have the practical side of working with real business people, and then we get to integrate some of those ideas and teach our students practical ideas. So when we're teaching classes on planning and finance and marketing in those areas, we're using real world examples. We're having, like in the business plan class, they're writing a business plan. In the marketing plan one, they're writing a marketing plan. I'm teaching the pricing one. They're writing a pricing
It's hands-on,
strategy
they're
right
putting
now.
it together.
Yes, yes. And so they take an idea and they develop that. So the idea is how practical it is, and it's really fun because we'll have people who have graduated and call back up and say, wow, I'm using that stuff I learned in that class, or I've actually started a business and that really helped me out, and so it's wonderful. So we do have it where we have 15 one-credit-hour classes. Students can earn a professional credential in entrepreneurship if they take all 15 hours. We have those broken down into 5 areas where they can get a 3 one-credit-hour class and get like a credential in management, marketing,
Kind of
finance, and those
specialty
areas.
areas.
Yes, and then we also have a minor in entrepreneurship. So a lot of students who pursue degrees in marketing, management, general business, but also in art, in history, and some of those areas, will get a minor in entrepreneurship. So because there are a lot of people who understand the entrepreneurship classes are not just taken by business students, they're also taken by people who currently run a business out there, have their real business. There are people who are students who want to start a business when they graduate, and then there are people who are students that just are interested in taking different classes. But they're really fun. We teach those all distance learning, and so it's really interesting. We've had troops that are serving overseas. We have people, like one year I had a missionary who was serving in a different country and ran an orphanage, and he was wanting to start a for-profit business to support his non-profit orphanage that he ran. So there's people from Colorado and all over the country taking them. So they're really interesting classes to teach online.
It sounds like really each person's situation is unique. Imagine, Lisa, no matter, as you say, you obviously keep things confidential, but everybody has a different situation.
Everybody is totally different, and they want this one solution that's going to work for everything, the one pill, and it doesn't exist because every situation is unique. And once they start working with us, they kind of see that, and we open up their eyes and give them research for them to then come back to us and say, okay, I get it now.
And Ken, do you find it rewarding when somebody comes in with that beginning idea and then you see them later as a successful business?
You can't imagine. It's just great. I mean, because we keep it confidential, we can't. I can't drive
Can't give
by
you a name
and
and say,
tell
yeah.
my family. It's like, hey, look, I started that business. Right? Hey, look, yeah, I know that's that. Yeah, we have to keep that, tight-lipped, but it's really cool. I mean, I had a guy call me up the day before he was going to start, and he said it's about to get real. And I'm like, yeah, it is. You're exactly right. But the excitement in his voice, and then to see that business prosper and just grow when there are some strikes against him, this particular business, and it's like, this is so cool to see it go like that. Yeah, you just can't imagine. It's just great. It's a great feeling.
And have you seen students who've come here at Southern as students and then go out and succeed with businesses as well, that they're going to go to school, get a degree, and then they become a business owner or a business person as well?
It's really exciting. I have a student that I had in night class in the 90s, and she and her husband have a business that they're getting a federal grant. They're getting ready to, it's just getting ready to explode their capabilities, and they're so excited. But we've just maintained that relationship, and she has kept coming back through the years going, I need to talk to you. And it wasn't until the last few years that she really had a business, but she just, kept that relationship, and it's really fun what we do. And they come back, and then they'll see us, and they're like, like, hey, you helped me so much. And we're like, thank you. That means the world to us.
Yeah.
So that follow-up's really important, that it doesn't just
Yes.
end when you say, okay, go open your business. We want to keep hearing from you. We want
No,
to
it's
follow
not
up.
a one and done. We just need them to continue learning.
And continuing education is a big part of what you're doing for these people through your workshops and the services. Now, one thing we haven't mentioned is how to get in touch with you. So you're on the campus of Missouri Southern. Where can they find you here on campus?
We are on the first floor of Plaster Hall in Plaster Hall 107. And when Plaster Hall was built in the 80s, our office suite was actually built for us. So we have reserved parking for our clients and training event attendees, just a few spots
Okay.
on the back side of Plaster Hall. And then we have a small training room and then private offices for each of us.
And of course, we talked about internet, websites, how they can find you that way through social media and so forth.
Right. We have a little website that launches off of Missouri Southern's called MSSUtraining.com. And we're also pretty active with our Facebook page. I believe we have a Twitter account as well. I'll be very honest, I'm not very good at tweeting. Don't have a lot of time for that, but we try to keep everybody tied in as best we can.
Great. So if anybody has any questions after watching today, is there a phone number they could also call and try to reach you in your offices?
Sure. The front desk is 417-625-3128.
And you obviously have workshops and things going on year-round. So even though this is a
Yes.
spring-based program, they can come in the summer, they can come now, they can wait till
Yeah.
winter.
Yeah, and our website, MSSUtraining.com, has a training event calendar. So it'll have our upcoming events coming up. So, yeah.
So they're well planned in advance and
Yes.
tying that together.
We try to stay busy.
Yes, we do.
Keeping you
Yes, we
busy.
do.
So you're the three-person staff really that are kept busy going throughout the day.
Yeah.
And
It's us.
tying this together. But all three of you obviously enjoy it. It's something that you feel making a contribution to the community.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Very rewarding work.
Well, and it is because we probably didn't mention enough, we do have students on our campus and have over the years who are going to school and starting a business. And we work with those people who are doing that because you never know. I always tell people, you know what? Walmart started somewhere.
That's right.
McDonald's started somewhere. All those big businesses at one day. And when I look at my students, I think, you know what? Here you are today. 30 years from now, you may be the millionaire and billionaire out there. I mean, they really may. When we look at them, that's what we think.
That's great. Well, I'd like to thank the three of you for visiting today, providing some information for our audience.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you for the
us.
opportunity.
You're welcome. And I'd like to thank the viewers for joining us this week. I'm Judy Stiles. Hope you can join me again next week at the same time on this station. We'll see you then.